Hello there, pre-algebra students. Welcome to Chapter 5, Section 6, as we continue to discuss whether or not particular relationships are proportional. And we're going to look at how to do that with graphs today. Now, before you get started, it would actually help you if you have two different colored highlighters for something. And if you grab those, if you don't, it's okay, but if you have a couple different colored things where you could if you notice what I did on the screen here, I have colored the two lines on the graph in front of you, two different colors. I made this one, highlighting it right now. I made that one blue, which it's changing color as I highlight it. And if you would make that one color, and then I'm going to try to, I think I can select another highlighting color here. Just going to show you, here's what I'm thinking. And then if you took a different highlighter, colored that one that, or if you just traced over it a couple different colors, it might make your notes a little neater. I'm going to remove the highlighters because I like the colors that I already chose. But if you would do that, two different colors, it might just make things make a little more sense when you're reflecting in your notes later here. And I'll take a look at what we're doing here in the top paragraph. It says, another way to determine whether two quantities are proportional is to graph the quantities on the coordinate plane. If the graph of the two quantities is a straight line through the origin, then the two quantities are proportional. Okay, so really that's your magic sentence right there. If the graph of the two quantities is a straight line and it goes through the origin, okay, if that's true, if the graph is a straight line, circling the really keywords, important keywords, if it's a straight line through the origin, then the two quantities are proportional. And that's the question you're trying to answer today is, given a graph, can you tell if it is a proportion? Okay, given a graph, is it proportional? Oops, is it proportional? And what you're wondering is the relationship between the two variables, in this case cost and number of guests. We're trying to decide, is the number of guests proportional to the cost based on the graphs we have here? Well, simply put, they tell you up here at the top exactly how to tell. So let's take a look at the notes down here at the bottom. It says for center A. Now center A, I used the blue. It's this line right here. This is the center A. The blue line on my screen. Hopefully you highlighted it one color. It says for center A, the rate is not constant. And the reason we know that this rate is not constant is because it does not go through the origin. See this point right here? That is not the origin. Therefore, it is not proportional. And you're probably sitting there going, what in the world are you talking about here? Let me see if I can show you another way. Based on what we learned yesterday, if you did yesterday's lesson, we learned that if you take y divided by x, and for every point on the line it's the same, then the two variables are proportion between the number of guests. So let's look at the blue line, okay, which is center B, or I'm sorry, center A. Okay, if I take y divided by x. Okay, the first point I'll look at, I can't really look at 0, 400 because of the 0, so let's look at this point right here. 25, 50. So on your graph, it shows up right about there, I think. 25, 500. Okay, the 500 is the y and the 25 is the x. So that means that 500 divided by 25, okay, if I divide that out, I get 20. Okay, so if I take another point, like this point right here, 600, which I believe is up here. Since I covered up, I can't see it now. Yeah, there it is, 5,600. That makes sense. 5,600, and I divide it. Okay, y is the 600. X is the 50 here. So if I take 600 divided by 50, and if we divide that out, we get, let's look, 12 is what it works out to be. So right there, you see that these two numbers are not the same. Now, do you remember in yesterday's homework, we talked about the constant of proportionality has to be the same. These are not the same. So the blue line on my paper, or center A, is not proportional, which is what this question is asking. Okay, well, if we did the same thing with the red line, or center B, I'll do that over here, center B, take y divided by x. All right, let's pick some points here. We've got 100, okay, 100 is the y. That's 100 divided by 10. Here's the 10. Okay, 100 divided by 10 is 10. Let's pick the next point, 330. Okay, y is 300 divided by 30. Hey, that's 10 also. Let's try 50, 500. So 500, guess what? That's 10. And it's true of every point on that line. It's about the relationship between the two variables. Okay, and notice on B, or the red line, that goes through the origin. So here's the lesson on this page, and they're telling you that down here. For center B, the rate is constant, meaning the relationship is the same between the two variables. Okay, the relationship, here it says right here, between the cost and the number of guests is proportional. And then they say, notice that it's a straight line that does pass through the origin. So that's basically your lesson here, is if you have a graph that's a straight line that goes through the origin, you have a proportional graph there. So that's about 7 minutes. That's the information we're going to be looking at. I'm going to stop it here, and I'm going to start a new video that will work out the problems for you, and hopefully we can get it wrapped up in one more video for you for the day.